Welcome to the Sustainable Success Show, where we share real-world ideas, strategies, and systems to help you build success that lasts in business and life. Each episode delivers practical insights you can apply immediately without burnout, chaos, or short-term fixes that don't scale. At the foundation is emotional intelligence and effective communication, how you lead yourself and how you connect with others across personalities, generations, and cultures, because that's where trust, engagement, and performance are created. I'm Christopher Salem, your host, and this is where sustainable success becomes your competitive advantage. Hi, welcome to Sustainable Success. I'm your host, Chris Salem. Hope everyone is having a great summer. We are so excited to be here. We just celebrated this past May 9 years with Sustainable Success. Hard to believe we've been around for that long. But again, thanks to you, loyal listeners that have been with us since May of 2017. Yes, when we started off with Voice America, the influencer channel. Actually, we pioneered that channel for them and eventually moved on to the business channel. And now since January, we've been on our own platform. This way we could serve you in many other ways here, even in video format. So thanks again for all of you that have supported this show since its inception. And again, we want to welcome all new listeners. We encourage you to follow us on YouTube at Christopher R. Salem, as well as the Sustainable Success Show on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, as well as iHeartRadio. So feel free to do that. And we'd be greatly appreciated because we will come back each and every week providing subject matter experts sharing their words of wisdom and insight to help elevate you and your business to that next level. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. It is a membership program taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we're going to be talking today about establishing global credibility. We live in a world now where there is information all around us. We're bombarded with it in all different directions. The thing is it credible? Are you creating that credibility and that deeper connection with the people that you serve, the industries that you impact? Well, we're here today with the subject matter expert who is called the global credibility expert, and that is Mitchell Levy. He's a two-time TEDx speaker, international best-selling author of over 60 books, and actually has a book out right now that you're going to find out about, and an executive coach at Marshall Goldsmith's 100 Coaches. And after interviewing 500 thought leaders on credibility, he published a 7-country international best-selling book, delivered a powerful TEDx talk on humanity, created courses, and created the Credibility Nation membership community to help those live, learn, and surround themselves with others on the credibility journey. Now, he's an accomplished entrepreneur who's created 20 businesses in Silicon Valley, including 4 publishing companies that have published over 750 books. He's provided strategic consulting for hundreds of companies and has been chairman of the board of a NASDAQ listed company. And he has been happily married for 33 years, and prior to COVID-19, regularly spent 4 weeks a year in Europe with family and friends. And without further ado, we welcome Mitchell Levy, Dr. Mitchell Levy, I should say. Dr. Mitchell Levy.
That's newer since we've known each other for a while, but that's
it. You are officially a doctor.
It's not quite the same as getting knighthooded, but it's pretty cool.
Well, while we're on that subject, let's talk about a little background about your journey to becoming this global credibility expert and getting your doctorate, in and around this area. So let's talk about that.
It's interesting. I have a fun slide. So for those who are listening only, chime into the YouTube channel so you could see the slide, and we'll talk about it. But I wanted to share this, Chris, is my 7-year journey, right? So between what you talked about was the interviews of 500 thought leaders, I actually interviewed 500 thought leaders between 2019 and 2020. I learned many secrets, but 2 really powerful secrets, and I'll talk about both, one more than the other. One is the simplicity of clarity, how we can articulate where we are executing on our purpose in 3 to 9 words. The second, the 10 values of credibility, right? So we'll come back to that because I got a picture for one of them, and the book Executive Abundance has both. Um, I did a TEDx. It's got 500,000 views. That was in 2021. It's called "We Are Losing Our Humanity," and I'm tired of watching it happen. And my hope and expectation is if we did nothing more than act credibly, we'd be more humane to each other. Yeah, we'll come back to that at some point in time. Around that time, I was inducted into the Marshall Goldsmith 100 Coaches. I joined the PhD program in 2023. Now, what was interesting, Chris, is I at the time made a decision. I did not want to do my dissertation. I didn't want to do my dissertation on credibility. For some odd reason, I felt like I covered it. And we'll come back to the credibility difference.
Sure, yeah.
I didn't want to do my dissertation on clarity because for some odd reason it didn't feel right. And then 18 months ago, from a bolt of lightning, I actually got this concept called executive abundance. And so that's what I did my dissertation on. And so the research, lots of, once again, more research, right? But what ended up happening is I ended up producing a dissertation that is 5 chapters for those who haven't done one. I also did the book called Executive Abundance. It is my 66th book and the best book I've ever written. From that, I also created 2 chatbots and 2 courses. So we'll spend a second on the chatbot and one of the courses just for fun. So the chatbot, one of the things, the superpower I picked up when I was doing the interviews is literally I could sit with any company, any human, help them articulate in 3 to 9 words where they're executing on their purpose. That's clarity. That's amazing clarity. And I give you the formula inside the Executive Abundance book, but I'll also tell you I've created a chatbot. And, maybe a year ago, AI didn't work really well, but nowadays it's called the CPOP Architect. And if you went there, you would actually be able to create your own CPOP. Super cool. All right. So that's one of the 2 chatbots. The other thing I did was I created courses, but I made courses the way I think courses should be created. So I created a course for the CEO. Executive Abundance is really a tops-down initiative. I also created a course for the C-suite. The CEO course, Chris, is 10 minutes long, right? So let's be clear. You or I are not going to teach a CEO anything new, right? So, why spend more time than training? What the course does is reminds the CEO of the framework of executive abundance, and then tells the CEO to make sure he empowers the team because those are the ones who are executing the framework. That you only need 10 minutes for that. You probably need a little bit less, right? So,
oh, love it. So, and now that, I love that, the fact, congratulations again on
thank you.
this journey, becoming getting your doctorate in this area and incorporating this into this book that you have out now. It's been out on Amazon, Executive Abundance. We're going to make sure that link will be provided for everybody to, get access to, get their hands on that book. So I guess let's talk about credibility, establishing that credibility. And we can even weave this into the Executive Abundance. Anything you like to talk about, Mitchell, please do that can enlighten our audience here. These are going to be people that are making decisions, taking charge in their endeavors, anything that can give them that edge that you can share with them.
I will absolutely share the 10 values of credibility and the definition, the updated definition that I believe everyone should use. Let me do an and, okay? What I want to do first is if you actually go to Amazon, you will see the book in hardcover, Kindle, and Audible formats. Okay, now on the Audible side, the narrator of the Audible format is myself. All right. So now here's the thing. I won't name names, but I'll tell you there are other authors in the 100 Coaches that they've had somebody else professionally read their book. And as much as I may love the person that who wrote the book,
yeah,
understand the narrator. Like it's just it hurts
It's
me.
not them.
It's not them. So listen, if you're writing a business book and your goal of the business book is for people to learn, grow, and part of it is to get to know you, there is no better way. If you download or, purchase the Audible book, you're going to be spending 5 hours with Mitchell. Now, if it's one person, I've saved 5 hours.
Yeah.
If it's 100 people, 500 hours. If it's 1,000 people, so imagine 10,000 people download the Audible. Look at how much time I've saved. And then what happens when we have that next conversation? Or maybe technically for you, it's the next, if you bought the book, it's the next conversation. For me, it's the first conversation. When we have that conversation, we're going to have a significantly better conversation because you'll understand the frameworks.
Yeah.
The reason I said that is that's part of being credible. That's part of the credibility thing. That is my need to allow the audience to consume this concept the best way possible. And that's part of credibility. So let me share. That makes sense, right?
Let's do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So credibility, when you look at the dictionary, when I first started the interviews, and in some dictionaries, it hasn't been updated yet. Credibility is listed as the quality in which you're trusted. But you know what? Credibility is so much more than that. And so what I made the decision, we know the expression, know, like, trust. I took that expression, but I turned it around a little bit. Credibility is the quality in which you're trusted, known, and liked. Now, the reason for that, instead of know, like, trust, Chris, the best way I could paint an example of where that made sense, the yellow pages, do you remember those? Hey, I need a plumber. You go to yellow pages. Or, even before that, the Wild Wild West. You're in the wilderness, you come into a town, your horse just lost a hoof or something, and you're gonna go into the saloon and say, hey, where's the best blacksmith and which one should I use? Right? So what happens is, hey, I need to know what service to use. And then you go, do you like them? And are they good at what they do? That's where know, like, trust comes from. Now, in today's world, where we can just type in, hey, I need a blacksmith or whatever it is you want, and you instantly get bombarded with a gazillion choices, what you're going to really say is, well, which blacksmiths should I trust? You want to trust somebody first. Then, as you get to know them, because even though somebody else may like them, you may not. As you get to know them and you understand their values and who they are and how they follow through, this is where, looking at other people's reviews are great. As you get to know them, then you could decide if you like them. And so credibility is the quality in which you're trusted, known, and liked. And then under each one of those three pillars, there are other values. And that's what really came out of the interviews.
Wow, that's fabulous. Love that. And and for those listening here that feel like that maybe they got credibility on some level, but maybe not on a level they would like, and they're seeking that edge right now, whether if it's more impact they want to create with their team, with their clients, their industry, whatever that may look like, what would be, based upon what you've just shared, it could be some things they could start, taking that first step.
You know what? All right, thanks. Let me put this back up. It really starts with trustworthiness. So
Yes.
number one is coachability. So the four values of being trusted is being coachable. So if you're a leader and you don't accept the opinions of those beneath you will not stay with you very long. Right? In the old world, well, maybe they do, but they're now going to start talking bad about you behind their back. For me, if a board says to me, "Hey, Mitchell, there's somebody on the C-suite. They just presented poorly to the board. Can you support them?" One of our products is an executive presence accelerator. I will guarantee between one board meeting and the next, they'll show up better. But I will only guarantee after I have that first meeting with them and I can understand that they're coachable. Number one, coachability. What's also under that pillar is authenticity and vulnerability, as well as integrity. So it's coachability, integrity, vulnerability, and authenticity. And I think, what can you do first? Be coachable, be authentic. The integrity side, And Chris, this is really interesting. And so you asked me what they can do. Let me tell you, integrity is the only value that is listed twice. So
And I love integrity. I think it's one of them. It's probably one of the, if not the most important values that you could allow
I
in the leader.
I absolutely think it's so important. I listed it twice because in being trusted, people say how much integrity they have. As you get to know somebody, so under the pillar being known, there are four elements. Servant leadership, you got to be a servant leader. So, if you want to start establishing credibility, be coachable, be a servant leader, respect others. Respect others is under being liked. But under the pillar being known, servant leadership, the intent and commitment to do the right thing. Because as people get to know you, they want to make sure you're focused in the same sort of values they are. And the word integrity is there as well. And so it's listed twice because we have both the external integrity, who we say we are, and the internal integrity, who we actually are. And so when you meet somebody and the hair in the back of your neck sticks up and something seems wrong, that's because there's a disconnect between their external and internal integrity. And so if you ask me, how can a leader have more credibility? They need to be coachable. They need to be a little bit more open. They need to be authentic and vulnerable, and they need to actually live. I'm going to say, I don't mean this in a negative way. They need to live the stuff out of their mouth. So if garbage is coming out of their mouth and they don't live those values, that disconnect kills credibility.
Mm. So it's like you said, because trust plays a big part. It takes a long time to build trust, and it can just take one thing in seconds to ruin it.
So the answer is yes. Let's do the and on that.
Okay.
So there are definitely ways you can kill trust, and depending on what happens, let's give a good example. We'll take a look at a software company, and the software company has told the world that at the end of this quarter, you've got the next release coming. Okay. Now, what happens if there are 50% bugs in the software? Okay. Now, the way the world works today, what happens is if you bring that up to the board's only, and because by the way, just so you know, software, you can recognize revenue when you release the next product. And if you haven't released the next product, you can't recognize the revenue. So what happens is if you go to the board and say, hey, should we release even though it's so buggy? The only metric the board is focused on is, hey, revenue. So they're going to say yes, right? Now, if we change the metrics, and that's what executive abundance is about, if we pay attention to employees and employee satisfaction, because, hey, the employees are going to deal with all these errors, and if we had the metrics also being in customers and customer sat, and the board was able to look at not just EPS, but also employees and customer satisfaction, well, then maybe a different decision would be made. Well, let's say they went ahead and just released the product, and they recognized they made a real big mistake. Now, if they made a big mistake and they recognize then it's a big mistake, they can quickly go and say, "Hey, listen, we released this product too early. We really shouldn't have. There's lots of bugs. Let us help you fix. If you want to go back, we can help you fix. And I promise we will not release a bug with software with this many bugs in the future."
Yeah.
Now, over time, that only works if in the future you don't release software with that many bugs. So you can build that level of, there's some things you can't come back from. There are some things that you can come back from by being open about who you are and how you show up, projecting to the world that being vulnerable, stating you made a mistake, and that you've taken corrective action not to make that again. That's how you build trust back.
Absolutely. Be accountable and not trying to cover up that you're open to your mistakes. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So accurate. And those values are like, integrity are so important because that's what builds that trust, and that's what builds that connection with people in your team. that will now begin to maybe do things that step up in their role and duties because, they can trust you that you're not, judging them, or think they might be incompetent, that you're giving them the opportunity, that there's no question that is not the right question. Just when you need help, say something, so to speak.
So I actually I put the slide back up because I wanted to share there is a way to be liked. And is it important to be liked? Yeah. It's important to be liked because we live in a world where there's so much opportunity that you'd rather go to work and enjoy yourself. You'd rather go to work and smile. And so if you were able to create an environment that your employees can do that, and it's a very simple way, show respect, share your stage. So how many times have you heard that somebody in management took the ideas of their underlings? That's not sharing your stage. That's not showing respect. You are not liked when you do that. One of the things that came out of right after this, we'll talk about executive abundance. One of the things that came out of the book Executive Abundance is my favorite quote, and so I'll share it with you so you get to feel the impact. It's about the leader's legacy, right? So to me, legacy is what people say about you when you're not in a room.
Yeah.
A leader's legacy is felt in the success of their stakeholders, right? So what does that mean? If you're CEO of a company that has 100,000 employees, I will tell you there are 100,000 conversations about you every night over the dinner table. Well, they could have bad conversations. That's your legacy.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Great information. I hope everybody is taking notes. Again, we encourage everybody also that are listening on audio, you go to the YouTube channel, because again, those slides that Mitchell shared are really, really helpful. And again, you're going to get his contact information here towards the end of the show. In terms of if you could share why, again, that credibility, not only on an individual level, but even, this is also important for, building your own personal brand, a company brand, a product brand. That would not matter. This is so important. Again, going back, it's not just about the product. It's not just about the brand. It's the things that align to what you just talked about, that trust, that integrity, those other values that are important to the people that, that you're impacting with it.
Well, just think about, what popped into my head, really interesting. I don't know why. But think about if you played sports in college or particularly in high school and there's a bunch of guys hanging around or girls hanging around, and then there's, the two team captains, and they pick who's going to be on their team.
Yeah.
Right. And how do they pick? Well, there's one or two players that are always amazing. Oh, this person, that person. But then what comes next? It's the people they trust to be team players.
Yeah.
That's always the way it works. So if you had the ability, if you're running a team of people and you're in the executive meeting and there's a couple thousand people to grab, who are you going to pick? You're going to grab the team players. You're going to grab the people that you actually trust will do the right job. You don't want the people who are going to go off and do their own thing, right? And so now I'm going to say, let me step back for a second. As powerful as I think clarity and credibility is, I mean, clarity, if you can articulate who you are and how you're executing your purpose in 3 to 9 words, that's clarity. 98%. If you're listening to this right now, you are most likely in the 98%. You are most likely not able to be able to express in 3 to 9 words where you execute on your purpose. That's just what came out of the interviews. So what I'll say is, as important as those things are, one of the things I recognized 18 months ago, something I didn't want to recognize, but I did. As important as those things are, oh God, it really hates me to say it. Those are two things that people need, not necessarily what they want. Yeah. The reason they need clarity and credibility versus want it is because they think they already have it.
Yeah.
Chris, I can't tell you. Here's what I did. When people came on my interviews, I would send them the formula. I would then give them a 15-minute video and say, here's the formula. Here's how you create your, I call it a CPOP, your customer point of possibilities. And it's got to be between 3 to 9 words. And what I found so far is 98% of people can do it. So why don't you come on board and see if you could be part of the 2%? And so many people said, hey, I'm part of the 2%, Mitchell. And then they'd share their CPOP and I go, yeah, that's not quite it. Right. And it's only because we've got all this marketing cookie cutter stuff that gets in the way. So what I needed to do, Chris, is not just focus on areas that people need. And that's part of executive abundance. I needed to focus on what people really wanted.
Yeah.
And so that's where I ended up spending the last 18 months and in particular hands down craziness since November of 2025 until April when I defended my dissertation. 12 to 16-hour days, researching, writing, talking, practicing with my clients, oh God, what a worthwhile experience.
Wow. Mitchell, this is really powerful information. And I want to make sure that, I wish we had an hour for the show. We have a half an hour. I want to make sure now people are going to get their hands on that book, Executive Abundance, and read it. Also, whether if it's in Kindle, if it's the hardcover,
the Audible or the hardcover. Yeah.
Audible. Yes. The Audible. So what I first want to do is before we do that, I want to thank you for being on this show in this episode. It's so timely for this as, as we'll be heading into end of Q3, Q4, as through here in the summertime now that we're in. With that being said, how can people best get in contact with you? What are you up to? And anything that you'd like to offer them from what you shared with us today?
Well, I normally will say only my website, and I will say that. But if this has intrigued you at all, go to Amazon and whatever version you want. It's just Executive Abundance. That should bring the book up. You could say Executive Abundance by Mitchell Levy, but Executive Abundance should be enough.
We're going to have the link in there anyway.
The link will be in the thing. So if this is of interest to you, this is intriguing to you, a lot of the offers, the things I do are on the Mitchell Levy website. That's MITCHELLLEVY.com. And there are either special offers, things that I focus on. And if this was intriguing enough that you want to talk to me, my calendar is also there. So that's at mitchelllevy.com. And then you could figure out what makes sense. And if it's relevant for you and your company, I'm happy to have that conversation. And from the integrity and authenticity perspective, if you're not the right fit, I'll let you know you're not the right fit, but I'll recommend somebody. I'll let you know that you're not the right fit for me, but I'll let you know there's somebody who is. Because it's, at the end of the day, I want to model what I'd like companies to act and be. And it's a ground in which we as humans can enjoy our bigger lives, not just our work lives.
So powerful. Again, that link is going to be in the show notes, everybody. Make sure to get a copy of that book. More importantly, reach out to Mitchell. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Also reach out to his website to get an idea of all the things that he's doing, helping executive leaders as well as organizations, no matter what size that is. He also does keynote speaking. So make sure that you check that out and connect with him. And if for any reason you reach out to us, we'll make sure to connect you directly to him as well. Mitchell, thank you so much again for taking time to be with us here today.
Oh, Chris, man, thanks for having me. It is always a pleasure to spend time and energy with you.
Thank you. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Sustainable Success. We encourage you to check out our sponsor, Alumni Direct, at alumnidirect.com. Again, let them know that Sustainable Success sent you. Until then, everybody, again, make sure to subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, our new YouTube channel at Christopher R. Salem, where we have all of our Sustainable Success episodes there as well. And, of course, Amazon Music and iHeartRadio. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week. We'll see you here next Friday, 12 East Coast time, 12 noon, and 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Have a great day, and we'll see you next Friday. Take care.